The state of recycling of soft plastics in Australia is incredibly poor.
If we keep going the way we're going to see a tripling of the use of plastics into our oceans.
We can no longer pass it down the chain and expect someone else to solve it.
Australians are avid recyclers, but putting waste in a recycling bin doesn't guarantee that's where it'll end up.
Coles and Woolworths customers are being told to put their soft plastics in the rubbish bin after the suspension of a major supermarket recycling program.
Last week, the nation's supermarket giants were forced to halt their relationship with the Red Cycle program, aimed at recycling up to 20,000 tonnes of plastic waste. After it was revealed it was stockpiling plastic the public thought was being recycled.
If you're making and using soft plastics or just using soft plastics, it's not enough to set up a collection system. It's actually, you've got to buy it back, right? You've actually got to recognise that there is an expectation for you to use that material that you disposed of and bring it back into circulation.
Gail Sloan represents Australia's waste and recycling industry. She argues that low-grade plastic, such as shopping bags, often ends up in landfill because it's just not profitable to recycle.
These failures are a recognition that we've allowed waste and resource recovery to be seen as an externality that someone else is responsible for.
For more than a decade, Australia's recycling industry was reliant on China, exporting 125,000 tonnes of recycled plastic in a single year to the Asian nation. China banned the practice in 2017, saying hazardous contamination of the waste was polluting its environment. Last year, Australians used more than 1 million tonnes of plastics, but only 16% of that was recycled. When it comes to soft plastics, just 4% of about 350,000 tonnes was recycled.
It's just too much coming in and not enough going out.
We've got bunkers on the left, we've got material on the right.
In regional New South Wales, David Hodge owns and runs Plastic Forests. It's a small business, and in this factory facility, about 15 staff are processing low-grade plastic waste.
You can sort of see there that it really is a hodgepodge of different types of plastics, and this is what makes it so difficult to actually use.
After processing the combination of plastics that includes chip wrappers and shopping bags, the end result is a thick and sturdy recycled plastic used to make garden edges and tyre stops.
So we've got various types of garden edging here and garden bed kits, and this one.
But David Hodge has a big problem. Under his 18-month partnership with RedCycle, he received about 60 tonnes of plastic for recycling, but he couldn't sell enough of the recycled products to make the deal viable and had to stop taking in the soft plastics from RedCycle.
The program was growing faster than what we could actually sell material, sell end product.
He hoped the big retailers who had signed up to RedCycle would help him sell the products made from waste they'd created. But Plastic Forest couldn't get its garden kits into Coles or Woolworths.
It's not recycled until somebody buys a product with recycled content. You have the best collection program in the world, but until you can collect it, put in a product, and someone purchases that product, it's not recycled.
Both Coles and Woolworths told 7:30 they are committed to scaling up its recycling and buying back or funding recycled products.
The system is under pressure because Australians do not value secondary raw material as yet.
The recycling industry is pushing for government intervention to make recycled plastic products more competitive on shop shelves.
These systems or these challenges are going to be solved by people working together and by putting funding into the system.
There may be some financial incentives put in place. There would be a much better communications program. There would be targets that they would be obliged to meet. They would be set out in the legislation.
Environmental lobbyists are calling on state and federal leaders to come up with a new recycling plan.
It's incumbent on federal and state environment ministers to give us the details of their action plan. It's no good just saying, oh, we're talking to industry or we're continuing the previous government's policies.
I've made it very clear to the industry that they need to get their act together.
Behind there.
Environment Minister Tanya Plibersek is promising more regulation and legislation if the biggest producers of waste don't come to the party.
That's what has to happen. If industry can't get this right on their own, then the Commonwealth and state and territory governments will step in and we will regulate.
She's also setting even more ambitious targets, revealing to 7:30 that the government has joined a coalition of nations that intend to end plastic pollution and reuse and recycle all plastic waste by 2040.
Australia is a large producer of plastic waste by global standards. We haven't got good recycling at the moment. We've got to do better. And by working in this global coalition, we're signalling that we're prepared to be held to account.
By 2040, the students here at this primary school in Melbourne's East will be in their late 20s. They're already doing their bit. Plastic wrappers are rarely taken to school.
Nearly every animal on Earth is getting extinct from plastic.
It's just like hurting ourselves and the animals. Please recycle, you're hurting our Earth.
It's no one part of the supply chain's issue, right? We actually all need to value this. So we've all got to step up to the plate and work together on this one.